Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now let us take a few examples of capital budgeting. In this video, I want to solve one question for capital budgeting. But if you remember, we have divided this project into two parts. First part was asset expansion project, and the second one is asset replacement project. So asset expansion project is very simple and easy. It includes a few steps only. So first of all, now let us read the example. Basket vendor is considering the purchase of a new basket weaving machine. It means they want to purchase a machine or asset. The machine will cost 50,000 plus 20,000 for shipping and installations and falls under 3 years maker clause. So until this point we got three information. Cost is this much, uh, capital expenditure is this much, and it comes under 3 years maker clause. Okay, now let me read all of them. Net working capital will rise by 5,000. Lisa Miller, it means this is the owner of the company. Lisa Miller forecasts that revenue will increase by 110,000 for the next 4 years and will then be sold or scrapped for 10,000 at the end of the fourth year when the project ends. Operating costs will rise by 70,000 for each of the next 4 years. Basket Wonder is in 40% tax bracket. Calculate the relevant cash flow. So here we have to calculate the cash flow, cash outflow, cash annual inflow, and terminal cash inflow. All of them should be calculated. But before to do that one, first of all, let's see the information that we have in the project. Initially, we have to see the cost of the project. How much is the cost of the project? Cost of the project is equal to 50,000. This is the cost of the project that we have, 50,000. How much is capital expenditure that we have? For example, in this case, we had for the shipping, right? So the cost was 20,000. Our asset comes under which class of maker? This is also given for us. So 3 years maker class is given. Working capital also increase. Yes, working capital increase or decrease? Usually working capital increase. So working capital increased, but increased by how much? By 5,000. Also, the next information. Lisa Mailer forecasted that the revenue will increase for how much? For 10,000. For 110,000 for the next 4 years. So increase in revenue, not decrease in revenue. Increase in revenue amount of 110,000 for the next 4 years. It means 110 for year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4. And after that, at the end, we have a scrap value as well. How much is the scrap value? Scrap value of 110,000, right? At the same time, this project, or when we start the project, operating expenses also increase. Operating expenses also increase, but operating expenses or operating costs increase by how much? It increased by how much? By 70,000 for the next 4 years. This company is in the tax bracket of how many percentage? Tax bracket of 40%. If this is so, now how to calculate or how to solve this example? If you remember in the previous videos, we have given the information regarding the formula for how to calculate the initial cash outflow. If you remember, this was the formula: cost of the asset plus capital expenditure, either increase or decrease in working capital. If there is increase, add. If there is decrease, just minus it. We don't have this part in this example. Why? Because this is in the case of replacement, but our example is only for expansion. So these four items are available in this case only. So if this is so, now let us solve this one and calculate the initial cash outflow, right? So initial cash outflow can be calculated in this way. Fine. Mention here initial cash outflow. In order to calculate the initial cash outflow, okay, so in order to calculate the initial cash outflow, now let's see. So first of all, we have to increase the size of or the font may not be visible properly. So we have to, in order to calculate the initial cash outflow, we have to go for those 5 or 4 steps, which we needed, right? So we have to add this one, we have to add this one, and this one. Now let us calculate this one in our example, right? Come down and calculate all those points. So this point, initial cash outflow, and of course the second column, this one, mention amount, give amount, for example, amount, then come down, mention the cost. Initially, you have to mention cost of asset. Cost of asset. Next, before to calculate that one, of course, come down part, cost of asset. The next one was plus capital expenditure. Capital expenditure. How much was the capital expenditure? We'll find out. After that, if there is increase or decrease in working capital. So we have to find out this one. In our case, check that. In our case, it is increase in working capital or decrease in working capital. There is a rise in working capital. It means working capital increase. If working capital increase, so this was the formula. We have to add the working capital, right? So if we have to add the working capital, so add the working capital. Increase, add, increase in working capital or WC. Now mention the amount, right? Give one more column for the total amount. Total cash outflow. Total cash outflow. Now let us take the information from our example. That how much was the example? Cost of the machine is 50,000. Capital expenditure is like shipping is this much, right? And rise in the working capital is equal to how much? 5,000. So mention those information available here. Cost of the capital was equal to 50,000. Capital expenditure in the form of shipping was how much? 20,000. Working capital increased by 5,000. Increased by how much? By 5,000. So if you sum up all of them, you get how much? You get 75,000. But first of all, let us increase the size or the font size. So working capital total of this become equal to 75,000. 75,000. So this 75,000 can be considered as total amount of initial cash outflow. This is what? Initial cash outflow. So initial cash outflow of the project is 25,000. Why? Because as per the formula, so we have to calculate the cost, which was 50, then add capital expenditure, 20,000, increase in working capital, which is equal to how much? Amount of 5,000. So total cash inflow was this much. But remember one thing, in order to calculate the precision will be charged only on these two items, right? Which total become equal to how much? 75,000, 70,000. 50 for on this one and 20 for this one. So this was regarding initial cash outflow that we have calculated. So this was outflow. Now let us calculate the second part. Second part was regarding this one, annual cash inflow. So annual cash inflow should be calculated. How to calculate? This was the formula. You know it. Please remember this one before to come for the class. So now let us calculate this one. Annual cash inflow. Let us take from here. Annual cash inflow. Annual cash inflow. And rest, of course, we have several columns for this one. Inflow. Then we have several columns. For example, it depends. Columns depends on the number of years, for example. For how many years do we have this one? So it might be for several number of. So mention for how many years. If you remember, our project is for how many years? For 4 years. Year 1, then mention year 2, then mention year 3, then mention year 4, right? Of course, let us expand the size, the font size as well. So to 18, it should be visible to everyone. So this was regarding this one. After this, of course, we have to talk about the formula itself. So this was the formula, if you remember, for the calculating the annual cash inflow, right? Increase in revenue minus increase in expenses and so on. Now let us apply in our case as well, right? So mention here increase in revenue. Increase in revenue for year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4, right? Next one, of course, we have to see increase in expenses. Increase in expenses, we will mention increase in expenses as well. So, but before to mention the value, first of all, let me draw the formula. Then the result of this one was profit, profit before tax and depreciation, DEP, right? Depreciation. First of all, let me change the font size for all of this to 18. So now we can do it properly. It is visible now. After this, whatever is the result. So after this, we have to minus or we have to less or minus tax depreciation, right? So we have to calculate depreciation minus depreciation. How to calculate depreciation? We will see it. After this, the one or the result which you have will be called as profit after depreciation. Profit before tax, but after depreciation, DEP, right? After depreciation. So whatever is the result of after this, we will have, or we have to minus, or we have to list taxes now. Minus tax. Then whatever is the tax, the result of this one will be profit after tax and depreciation, right? DEP. So then after this, once again, we have to add. We have to add back depreciation, DEP, right? Depreciation. So whatever is the result, this can be called as profit after tax, but before depreciation, DEP, right? So this is the amount which we need. Okay. Now let us collect information from our example. In this case, as we said, so whatever I have written here, basically this was the formula which you could remember also from from your previous topic. This was which I have mentioned here, right? So now let us check the example that revenue increased by how much? Revenue increased by how much? By 1,10,000, but at the same time, operating costs increased by how much? By 25,000. So if this is so, now let us solve or let's mention here as well. 1,10,000 was the revenue increase revenue for the next 4 years, right? For the next as well, mention 1,10,000 for the next as well, and mention 1,10,000 for the next as well, right? So this is the information that we have. After that, minus or decrease in operating expenses. So we have to minus this one, right? So we have to mention less decrease in operating expenses as per the formula. It should be deducted, right? How much was that one? That was 20,000. Let's just copy paste for the next one, for the next as well. So take this one, mention 20 in this one, 20 in the next one, and 20 for the next one. But remember that this is of course the minus one, so we have to take it with the let me draw it with the red one, right? So this was the negative one, so we have to minus it, so I have to take with the red one. So it means we have to minus this one. Now, what is the point here? Or otherwise, you can take it in bracket, right? So you can take it either with the red or otherwise you can take it with the bracket. So let me take it basically with the red one, right? So let me take it with the red. So the fonts should be with the red. Why it should be with the red? Because so we have to minus this one, or otherwise in bracket. Now, from 1,10,000 minus 20,000, you will get how much only? 40,000. Is it positive or negative? It is positive, right? So for each of them, we have the same thing. From 1 lakh minus 20, you will have 40,000 for the first year, 40,000 for the next year, as well as we'll have 40,000 for the next year, right? Oh, let me move it a little bit on this side because we need the space. Good. Now let us calculate depreciation, less depreciation. But how to calculate depreciation? See, information is available regarding depreciation as well. So depreciation, for the purpose of depreciation, so this asset comes under which class of makers? Under 3 years maker class. And also I said regarding depreciation, if you want to calculate depreciation, this cost to be considered. So how much cost to be considered for calculating depreciation? 20,000 should be considered. 50 for the capital expenditure and 50 for this one. And how to adjust this one, how to calculate this one? Of course, for that one, we had a formula. We have a table. So we have to divide it based on this table. So 70,000, 50 plus 20 becomes 70. 70,000 into 33.33 percentage for at the depreciation of the first year, 70 into the next for depreciation of the next year, 70 into the next for depreciation of the next, and the next, right? Now let us calculate it. So let me take my calculator here to calculate this one. Okay, this is the amount. Let us see how much was the amount of capital expenditure we have at the beginning itself. 70,000 was the amount plus 20. Now mention 70,000 into the rate of the table. How much was the rate in the table? I remember just it was 33.33 percentage. Multiply to 33.33 equal to this much divided by 100. Why? Because that was percentage, right? So now you can find out the amount of depreciation. How much is depreciation for the first year? You can record it here. 23,331 for the first year. Record the depreciation here, right? So this was the depreciation. So, and also take the font size as how much? Okay, let me delete here. Font size. Amount of depreciation 23,333. 23,331, right? This was for the first year. So as well as you can calculate for the second year as well. How much was the amount of depreciation? Depreciation was amount of 70,000. It should be multiplied. Multiplied to what? Multiplied to the rate. Take the rate for the second year. 44.45. So you can memorize this one as well. But don't worry. In exam, I will provide the rate for you guys. Multiply to 44.45, which is equal to this much. Now divided by 100. Why? Because that was percentage, right? Amount is equal to 31,115. Okay, now let us mention in our example 31,115, right? This was the amount for the second year. Depreciation for the next year, how to calculate it? Amount was equal to how much? 70,000. So 70,000 multiplied to what was the rate? Take the rate from here. 14.81, huh? 14.81. So multiply to 14.81 is equal to this much. Now divided by how much? By 100. You get 10,361. So mention here 10,367. 10,367, if I'm not wrong. 10,367, that is fine. Now let us calculate the depreciation for the last year. How to calculate for the last year? Once again, amount of this one multiply to how much was the rate. Take the rate from the table. It is 7.41 percentage. So let us calculate in this way. Multiply to 7.41 percentage equal to this much. Multiply to how much? Divided by 100. Become 5,187. So now let us mention here 5,187. 5,187. So as this one is also to be minus or to be deducted, let us mention it also with the red one, right? So this is also red. Now let us calculate it. From 40,000 minus this amount. Yeah, if you remember, we mentioned this one as well. So if you minus expenses from the revenue, the difference can be called profit before tax and depreciation, right? So this can be called profit before tax and depreciation. So you can highlight it as well or make it in the blue one. So this one, from this one now minus the amount of depreciation. 40 minus this one, 40 minus this one, 40 minus this one, and 40 minus this one. You can minus that, you will get the difference, right? So how to calculate this one? Now let us see. Let us do it once again with the calculator for the first year. For example, 40,000 minus this one, 40,000 minus 23,331. Difference is equal to how much? 16,669. Mention here 16,669 for the first year. For the next year, how much is the difference? Mention it just like this 40,000. So as it is time consuming, so I will calculate it in this way. Okay, for the next year, 40,000 minus 31,115, which is equal to how much? 8,885. Mention 8,885. For the next year, also mention please the amount of depreciation. So just take it 40,000 minus 10,367, 67, which is equal to 29,633. 29,633. This was the amount. And now let us take for the last year as well. 40,000 minus the amount of depreciation, 5,187, right? Difference is 34,813. 34,813, right? This was the amount of the difference between the profit before tax and depreciation and minus it means after depreciation. So this was the amount. So what do we call it? We call it profit before tax, but after depreciation. It means tax is not calculated yet, but depreciation is calculated. So you can call it in this way, right? So if you remember this step once again, first of all, we mentioned the revenue. Okay, let me increase the size of this one. It's fine now. We mentioned the revenue, then from revenue, we minus the expenses. So 110 minus this one, we got 40, 40, 40 for all of them. Then from this amount, which we could call the profit after before tax and depreciation, we minus depreciation. Then after depreciation, of course, we minus depreciation, then we got profit before tax, but after depreciation. Then after this, we have to less tax. What is the tax rate? Tax rate is also given in the example that how much tax we have to charge? We have to charge 40% tax. So 40% of this one as a tax, 40% of this one, this one, this one, and this one, all of them will be considered as tax. So in order to reduce the time, so let me calculate it directly, right? Or otherwise, I will calculate one of them, but the rest I will not take in the video. For example, the first one, how much is the amount? 16,669 into tax rate was equal to how much? 40%. So just directly multiply into 0.4. 0.4 become 40%, right? So how much is the tax? 66,667 sorry, 6,667.6. So let us take it 8. 6,668. Let me mention this one. 6,668 instead of this one. So let me go for the round off. For the rest, I will not take in the video. So in this way, you can calculate for the next year as well 40% of this one, this one, this one, this one. As this one is also to be minus, so we have to take it with the red color. Then we have to minus this one. For the first one, you have to calculate in this way from the profit before tax but after depreciation minus the amount of tax minus the tax. For the first one I will deduct for the first, and the rest I will do it without video, right? So how much was the amount? 16,669 minus 6,668, right? Whatever is the difference. 10,001. Difference is equal to how much? 10,001. So rest I will not take in the video, but you have to do in the same from this one minus this one, this one, this one, and so. So in this way, you can calculate this one, the minus the tax from this one, you get this one. From this one minus this one, you get this one, this one, this one, this one. These are the results. And also let me highlight this one as well. Why? Because this is the result, right? Next one is we have once again you have to add back the depreciation. So depreciation should be added. So what was the depreciation previously? This was the depreciation. So we have to take all of them back from there and we have to add it here, right? So calculate once again you have to add it back. So but this time we should not show we should not show on that manner, so we have to record it separately. So let me take out how much was the depreciation for the first year, 23,331. How much was for the next year? For the next year, 31,115. For the next year, 10,367. And for the next year, it was 5,187. After this, we have to add with this one, you will get the result, right? Add with this one, with this one. Let me add the first one. How much is the result, right? So it means 10,000 plus this one. 10,001 plus 23,331, which is equal to how much? 33,332 for the first year. In the same way, you can do for the next year as well. Next year is, for example, 5,331. So 5,331 plus the amount 31,115, which become equal to how much? 36,446, right? So the same you can do for the next year. 17,808 plus 10,367, which is equal to this much. 28,175 for this year. And for the next year also, please add this one. 20,888 plus 5,187, right? Which become 26,075. So this is the amount. Basically, this is the amount that we need in the project. This is called profit after tax, but before depreciation. So this is the final result. So we have to make some adjustment for this one. So if you are up to this point, it means we have calculated the second step. So we are in this stage. So one more stage is remaining, and that is the last stage. So we have to see the terminal cash inflow. So once again, we have to make one more column for the terminal cash inflow. Let us say terminal cash inflow here itself. Write down terminal cash inflow, and of course increase the size as well, and mention one amount for one more column for the amount, right? So let me increase this font size to 18. Should be understandable for us. Okay. No, don't want to see this one. You want to see everything here. Okay. So let me take it a little bit on this side. Fine. Now, so you can check it out. Okay. So just a minute. Come down, then mention those formula. Check the formula. What is the formula? Mention the formula. See here. Final salvage. It is basically based on the information. If you have information, mention. Otherwise, no need to mention it. But it is first example, I have to mention all these points, right? So now let us mention all these points one by one. First one is final salvage, right? Mention final salvage. Salvage. Give one column for this one. Whatever is the amount, we will talk it. Next one, mention disposal cost. Disposal cost. Whatever is the disposal cost, so we have to mention it here. And of course, let us increase the font size for this one as well. So to 18. Then whatever is the next, what is the next one? Disposal cost. Of course, this one should be minus, huh? We have to mention the amount that should be minus. Salvage to be added, and the other one should be deducted. This one also should be mentioned in the question, right? So mention this one. So this one is with the add or positive sign, and the below is with the negative sign. It is with the negative sign. After that, what is the next one? The next one from the formula, you can see if there is any tax charged. Either there will be profit or there will be loss. If there is a profit, there is tax charge, but sometimes there might be loss. Usually there is a profit. So now let's see whether there's a profit or loss in the project. But before to see profit or loss, we have to mention both of this one in the example. So you have to mention minus tax charge. Whatever is the amount, we will write down. And if there is any positive sign, if there is something like tax saving, you have to mention in this way. Tax saving is this one. Whatever is the amount, then we'll mention it. But first of all, let us complete the formula. Add decrease in the working capital and minus increase in working capital, right? Add de decrease decrease in WC, decrease in WC, right? And of course, if you may have, then mention minus increase in WC, NWC. Basically, it depends on the information. Now let's check the information whether we have information regarding all of them or not. Only some of them will be available, not all of them, right? So check the example. See, it is mentioned that the project will generate revenue for the 4 years, and after that it will be scrapped or it will be salvaged for how much? For 10,000. See the point here. We purchased the project for 50 machine is a purchase for 50 and for 20,000 is considered as depreciation as capital expenditure. The total cost increased to 70 and we charged this 70,000 as a depreciation. It means whatever was the cost, that cost of the project is covered. If at the end you sell the machine for any value, it means that amount will be considered as what? As a profit. ایچی مانا پروژه برای ما شما 70,000 تمام شده بود و ما 70,000 من از دپریسیشن قبلا چارج کردیم. هر اماونتی که در آخر ما سالویج فروختیم به این معنی که بر ما شما چی است؟ بر ما شما فایده است. پس به این معنی که اینمی اماونتی که 10,000 ما در آخر فروختیم خودش چی است؟ فایده است. اول خود سالویج نشته که یعنی قدر. درباره دیسپوزال کاست بر ما شما گفته نشده، پس دیسپوزال کاست چی است؟ صفر است. In all the project ما شما فایده کردیم یا نقص کردیم. In this project of course we made profit. Why? Because 20,000 was the cost of the project and we charged it as depreciation. اگر 70,000 ما کمتر دپریسیشن چارج میکردیم باید بیمانه که یک مقدار کاستش اونت باقی مونده، مگر کاست اونت باقی نمونده. این حال 10,000 که شما فروختین در آخر برای می 10,000 شما باید تکس بپردازین. این میگه تکس چارج. پس تکس چارج که شد تکس سیوینگ ما چی میشه؟ صفر میشه. متوجه هستی؟ چون نقص که باشه با تکس سیوینگ میاد، دولت پس میگیری. اینجا فایده که دی باید سری تکس بپردازی. ما در آخر این ماشین با چند فروختیم؟ We sold it for 10,000. How much is the tax rate? Tax rate is 40%. So 40% of 10,000 become equal to how much? 4,000. So minus 4,000. Why? Because 4,000 we have to pay for the government. Next one is regarding tax increase, working capital increase or decrease. See, it depends on the initial year. If at the in the initial year, if at the initial year, if working capital is added, once again at the end it will be added. If at the initial year working capital is deducted, at the end also will be deducted. Why this is so? Why? Because at the initial when you start the project, working capital increased and you paid. That is why outflow of the project increased. At the end, when you close the project, there is no need for working capital, so you receive it. When you receive it, the working capital decrease with the project. working capital امروی پروژه دیکریز میشه مگر امروی تو چی میشه؟ امروی تو زیاد میشه. از او خاطر چون این 5,000 که در ابتدا پیش رفته بود دوباره در آخر براتون پس چی میشه؟ پس براتون میاد. این که پس براتون میاد ما اینو میگیم که دیکریز in working capital. ایران 5,000 من چی بر خود اشتباه درست؟ بعد در آخرش نشته میکنیم که terminal cash flow. گرچه که در بالا هم نشته شده خب اینجا نشتهش میکنیم یک بار دقیق. Inflow of salvage 10,000 plus this 5,000 15,000 from 15,000. Okay, one part is missing here. We missed to mention the last year profitability. Last year profitability, see if you check the example of this one. First of all, we have result of operating cash flow for the last year. Yeah, we missed this part to mention here. So operating profit of the last year. How much was operating profit of the last year? One part is missing here. So let me add one more column here. Okay. Let me insert a column here before, okay, above this one. One column should be added here basically for what was the name of the proper content? Result of operating cash flow. Okay, you just mention it. Result of operating a proper cannot be recorded operating cash flow. Result of operating cash flow. Suppose this is the amount. Operating cash flow in terminal year. and in last year. In last year. So this was information. So let us take that amount from here. How much was the amount? The amount was 26,075. So this is the amount. Through this amount or after this amount, we add the rest of the information. See whatever is in the formula. Result of operating cash flow for the last year or in the last year. After that, we have to go for the following adjustment. So we have to adjust it, right? Now you can make the adjustment for this one. Okay, fine. Mention it. 26,075 plus 10,000 minus 4,000 and plus 5,000. Mention the result here. Now let me check out the result. How much is the result of this one? So let me calculate 26,000 plus this one plus 10,000 minus 4,000 and also plus how much? 5,000. You will get equal to 37,075. So this is the terminal cash flow for the project. Now, if in order to summarize the project, let us go in this way. Let me summarize the project. How to summarize it? Let me give a proper spacing here. Okay. Now it is fine. You can see everything. Now let me summarize. Mention summary of the project of the projected cash inflow and outflow. And then mention how many columns are needed, depends on the number of year. For example, year one, year zero, basically start with the year zero. Why? Because year zero we have, then year one, what is year zero? I will explain it. Year two, year three, and year four. Why? Because our project is only for how many years? For 4 years, right? After this, of course, then mention cash outflow. Cash outflow for this number of years 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? And after that, mention cash inflow. Cash inflow. Let us expand the size of the font, increase the size of the font to 18. Then we'll check out, right? So, okay, that is fine. Let me proceed in this one. Now it's good. So see the information. Summary of the projected cash inflow and outflow for year one. Year one, we have outflow. We had outflow for the project. How much was the outflow of the project? Outflow of the project was equal to 75,000. For the next year, we don't have outflow. Outflow is 0, 0, 0, 0. But next, of course, we have inflow. Why? Outflow is recorded in the 0 year because initial, it is invested in the initial year. It means it is at the beginning of the year. Suppose it is invested in the January, so that is why we take it at beginning. Year one means, of course, end of year one, year two, year three, year four, and so on. Why? Because investment is made at the beginning of the year and generated revenue will be generated at the end of the year. Now, how to summarize? Cash inflow. Inflow for year one, this one. Inflow for year two, this much. Inflow for year three, this much. Inflow for year four is not this much. Inflow for year four is this much. Why? Because we made some adjustment in that one. If you made some adjustment, so we have to mention that amount as a cash inflow of the project, right? So mention please this amount as a cash inflow. 33,332 for the year one. For the year two, 36,446 year two. For year three, 28,175 for this year. Okay, let me expand the size. For the last year, we have to mention this one, 37,075. Basically, this was the result of our cash inflow and outflow, right? This is our requirement. In the project or in the estimated projected cash inflow and outflow, we need these things. So we have to calculate how much is the inflow of the project as well as how much is the outflow. Initially, we have calculated how much is the initial outflow of the project. We calculated cost of the asset this much, capital expenditure this much, increase in working capital. Total increase is equal to 25. So in the summary also I mentioned this one. Regarding cash, annual cash inflow of the project, I mentioned this one for year one, year two, year three. Increase in revenue minus increase in expenses. From this one minus this one, whatever is the result, we call it profit before tax and depreciation. From this one minus depreciation, then you get profit before tax but after depreciation. Then minus tax as well, then you get profit after tax and depreciation. Again, once again, at depreciation, you will get profit after tax but before depreciation. So it is totally fine unless there is a need for the final change or the final year adjustment. In this example, we need for the final year adjustments as well. So I made some final year adjustment as well here. So what is the final year adjustment? So this is the final year adjustment. So result of the last year, it means this amount should be taken basically here. So from this amount to this amount, we have to make some adjustment. What are the adjustment? To this amount, add the salvage value minus if there's a disposal cost. If you made profit in the sales of the new asset، یعنی این نیو asset در آخر ما شما فروختیم با 10,000 که 10,000 خودش چی است؟ فایده است. هر مقداری که بعد از بیای خودش چی میشه؟ فایده میشه. ده قسمت نیو پروژه. و 40% of that one should be paid as a tax. So if you have this one, you will not have this one. So there is a decrease in working capital as well. If at the beginning you had positive in working capital, at the end also you have positive in working capital. If you have negative, at the end also you will have negative. But as you don't have negative at the beginning, so you don't have negative at the end as well. So now this amount plus this one plus minus this one plus this one, you get 37,000. And we summarized it. Cash outflow of the project is 25. Inflow for the year 1, year 2, year 3, and 4. شما شاید در پروژکت منیجمنت خوانده باشین که استاد مستقیم اینفلو و آوتفلو رو میگرفت، پی بک و غیره چیزا رو سرش چی میکرد؟ تطبیق میکرد. مگر اینفلو و آوتفلو از این طریق چی میشه؟ پیدا میشه. So thank you so much. Rest inshallah will take in the next